Relationships aren't always sunshine and rainbows. Just like in nature, you can't have rainbows without a little rain.
Journey with us
Shani Goodson.
and Dr. Sundiata as we share stories and insights about our thriving, unconventional love life and our unique take on relationships and consensual non monogamy. What's happening, y'all?
Hey.
We're back for another episode of the SunShan Rainbows.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's doing well.
How are you?
I was about to ask you that.
Well, I asked you first.
I'm doing good. I'm feeling really good today. And yes, there are days that I say I'm not. Sometimes, I'll say I'm doing fairly well.
Yep.
Um, just to, notate the fact that life is a roller coaster. Sometimes we have sunshine, sometimes we have rain. And so today I'm actually doing good though.
Yeah,
I woke
spirits are
up,
high.
spirits are high. Um, just woke up with a lot of good positive energy today, and the things that have been on my mind and nagging me for a few days haven't been nagging me recently. So yeah,
Woke up in the morning and I meditate. Did you meditate
I
this
did.
morning?
I did meditate. I did meditate. That always helps.
Close my eyes and all right. Anyway, yay! I'm
How about
glad you're
you?
feeling well. I'm feeling pretty good today too. My spirits are on the high side as well. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Y'all know life be lifing.
Okay.
So
Look, a lot. Okay,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot.
So it's always good when we bring that good feel good energy to the pod, though, right?
Yeah, and that's why I try to do these on days I'm feeling like this,
Facts.
and not the days that I'm feeling like, oh, because then you guys
Facts.
could probably tell. So hope you're
Facts.
feeling the good energy from us today.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about a pretty fun topic, I think. It's dating, which
Indeed.
a lot of people don't like to do, but I actually enjoy dating, for the most part, because I don't really take it all that seriously. So we'll
Mm,
get into all of our approaches
yeah.
about dating as we get into this. But I actually enjoy it. You, on the other hand,
I don't like dating. I do not like dating. That hasn't been the fun thing for me about polyamory. Uh, I like to say I like comfort. I like comfort. I like routine. Not necessarily routine. That doesn't fit here. But what's the saying? I like
you
comfortable
you say you like comfortable shoes, not new
shoes, not
shoes.
new shoes. There
That's
you
what he
go.
says. He
Yeah,
doesn't like
yeah.
to break in new
I don't
shoes.
like the break-in process, man. So it's like when I put the work in to, and I have a connection that's dope and it's good. I like to lean into that comfort, and I don't want to break any new shoes in, or any, in this case, any new people in.
Yeah, he's definitely not like a NRE kind of guy. He's more ERE. NRE is new relationship energy, and then ERE is like existing relationship
Or
energy.
established relationship
Yeah,
energy.
he's more on the ERE side. I personally like them both, but I'm like NRE forever. I like when NRE
Facts.
feels, I like when established relationship energy feels like new relationship energy. You're still giving each other that same kind of passion. And I like a little infatuation. Okay. I like that. So,
Mm, mm.
um,
You think I'm infatuated with you a
a
little
little
bit?
bit.
A little bit.
You send some sweet stuff sometimes. You could give me the NRE.
Giving you that NRE, that's ERE,
Definitely. You too.
that established new relationship energy. What's that? ENRE.
NRE.
There we go. ENRE.
Nah, you give it. You give it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like dating. I think to me, dating is like collecting data. That's what I always say. It's like, I don't, a lot of times people don't like dating because it doesn't go where they wanted it to go. Like it doesn't lead where they wanted it to lead. But because I'm like not ever that concerned about where it goes, I don't really mind. I just like enjoying time with people while I'm enjoying time with them. And then if we stop enjoying time with each other, then we just do. But we had a good time. So
Mm,
it's just like collecting data, determining how much time I'm going to spend with this person in the future. So like
okay.
after a date, I'm always just thinking, do I want to do this again or not?
Mm.
That's it.
So that's interesting because, as a woman, um, you also, the process to getting to a date, it looks much different than the process of me getting to a date. Like
True.
you actually have to filter through so many requests before you actually choose to say, yes, I'm going on a date. Can you speak a little bit about that?
I mean, that's true. I would say Women in general probably have busier like social media inboxes and like dating app inboxes than men, just in general. I don't think that's always the case, but I would say that's a general rule. So I do feel like as a woman, there are usually men knocking on your door, and it's always men, even though I be wishing it would be a woman sometimes, but there's always men kind of knocking on your door. And I do, have to decide if I want to go on out with this person or not. But I don't know. I don't really have any other context for that. Like you're saying it's easier for me to get to a date. No, I don't
No,
think you're
no,
saying it's easier. You're saying it's just a different
it's a
process.
different process
Like you have to do
because
the asking and I have to filter through the
correct,
asking.
correct, correct. And it's I have been asked,
Yeah.
but I don't get asked nearly as much as you do. I don't
Yeah.
get approached, like you said, in your inbox nearly as much. Like you and other women that I speak to, they tell me about what's going on in their inboxes,
Out on the street too.
and I could not imagine literally having to wake up on a day to day and have dozens, of messages from random people oftentimes, um, in your inbox just trying to get your attention.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think I wake up every day and it's like dozens. I might wake up, I might get a few a week. If I post, if I'm posting a lot
Hmm.
of like photos, if I'm posting a lot of pictures of myself, then I'll get more requests. But it's not like, I wouldn't say I'm like overwhelmed by it. And I know how to kind of control it, especially on social media, as far as how much I'm engaging with social media and stuff. If I
Hmm.
don't feel like getting a lot of inboxes, I don't engage with social media as much. And if I feel
Hmm.
like, hey, I want to date a little bit, I might ramp it up a little bit. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So tell me, how does you spoke a little bit about how it's a little bit different when it comes to getting requests from women versus men as someone who's, you know, fluid and dates, multiple gender expressions, etc. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Like,
Because women don't ask. Like women just don't really ask you out like that. It's rare. It's pretty
mm,
rare for a woman to ask you out. Sometimes it happens, but it's just not as frequent. Like it's and most women want to be asked, because that's just how we're conditioned.
mm.
So that's always a little bit of a struggle, I think. I think what's dating to you though? Because I think for me, going on a date does not mean going to a restaurant or going to a movie or those types of traditional dates. So like what do you consider a date?
So for me, there's a step before dating.
Uh-huh. What's the step? We've heard this before, by the way. If you listened last season and you heard our story about how we met, this will sound familiar to you.
So, well, first of all, I just had a thought. Like, I wonder if they're wondering what's in our cups.
Us coffee.
It's coffee, y'all. We not getting lit
We're not.
on the pie, y'all.
It's regular coffee. It's not Irish coffee.
But yeah. So I believe in meetups.
Uh-huh.
And like, so if I'm interested in getting to know someone a little bit better, for me, I don't jump to dates.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's important to have like a stepping stone to that, which is meeting up
Mm-hmm.
and just get to know each other a little better to see if we like each other enough to actually date.
So that's the first time y'all link up. Or is that the first few times y'all link up?
It might be the first few times.
Okay.
It's like the first few times, like the talking phase, we're talking on the phone, texting or whatever before the first meetup.
Yeah.
And then we actually meet up. Generally speaking, for me, I'm gonna know after the first meetup if I'm interested in like a romantic sexual type approach and like pursuing some type of romantic sexual, vibe with someone.
You said after the first meetup, you usually know?
Usually after the first meeting, I'll know if that's something I want to, think about moving forward with. That doesn't mean it's going to line up where it's going to happen, but
Yeah.
I'll know if I want to or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you'll know what direction it's going in.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it has to be mutual. So,
Yeah.
it'll be, and I ask questions to understand these things. I like to be explicit. I don't like to go with the wind per se. I like to really, communicate how I'm feeling and, let folks know, where I'm at or where I'm not, if especially if they ask. Um, so yeah.
I feel like I also know after the first date, I always say if we don't kiss after that first meetup, it's probably not gonna materializes
Damn,
much
kiss on
more.
the meetup?
Hmm.
Wow.
Usually, if I'm
We
meeting
didn't
up with
kiss on our
somebody,
first meetup.
nope, we didn't. But usually, I would say if we are meeting up, I will say though, when I was meeting up with you, I wasn't meeting up with you on a date. I don't call them meetups. He does. I call them dates. Like they're all dates to me because even if I go back in time, if something does materialize between me and the person, I'm gonna think of that as our first date. Like I'm going to think of that meetup as our first date. I know other people who call it a meet and greet as well, but to me it's a date. I might backtrack and call it a meetup or a meet and greet if it doesn't go well. Like if I only meet up with that person once and then they try to say we went out on a date, I might be like, no, it was a meetup. You know what I mean? Like I might do that.
Mm,
But I typically, if I like the person, it's a date. If I like that person after we met, it was a date. Like, and then we kissed on the first date.
okay.
And it's pretty common for me to kiss on the first date if it moves on. I wouldn't say it's common for me to kiss on the first date because if you remember from our last episode, I think we were talking about the fact that most of my dates are one and done. Like I go on one date with that person and I don't go on any more dates with them again.
Hmm.
That's more typical for me than it actually materializing to something that happens more than once.
Interesting. Now that I think about it, I think that usually for me, it's that like second meetup slash first date.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like if we meet up and there's any type of like romantic chemistry that is there and I'm feeling it, they're feeling it, and it feels mutual, then we'll start talking and we'll start planning a next date. And
Yes.
it'll usually be a date after that. Earlier I was like, yeah, it could be a second meetup. Nah. If I'm going out with somebody a second time, it's gonna be a date.
Now it's intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional. Unless right from jump, me and this person decide we got a dope platonic type energy and vibe. And I do have platonic friends that I've continued to, date
Date.
date my friends. I
Uh-huh.
will date my friends. So with that said, but if it's a romantic vibe, I typically will also kiss the person on that second meet. I'll say first date. I know. This is why I don't like dating a lot, y'all, because I'm confusing. I'm confusing for people.
I would say that I like what kind of energy do you give on the meet and greet? Like I, are you like expressing how much you like them or are you saving that for the first date also? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
usually for a meetup, he'll do like coffee
yeah,
or like tea or something like that.
yeah.
So I'm wondering, are you giving like energy? Are you giving like romantic energy on that? Or are you just like, nice to meet you? You know?
You know what? It just literally the vibe is what the vibe is. It just
Mm.
depends.
You
It depends.
never kissed on a meetup?
No, I
Wow.
can't remember ever kissing the first time that I went out with someone, even on like on that meetup type energy, unless I'm forgetting.
Long hug though. Hug.
Unless I'm forgetting. Long hugs. Yes.
You'd be
If
like,
I'm feeling somebody, the hug is probably gonna be really long on that first meeting. If I'm feeling them and they giving me energy, they feeling me, then the hug will probably be real. But I give long hugs to people in general too, though. But in this case, yes, it'll be a long hug. Um, and I think it just, it's if we're both feeling it, if we're both if the vibes are vibing, I think, yeah, I think I give a little energy that they would be able to tell that I'm digging them in that way for sure.
I feel like with me, it's undeniable if I like you. Like you can't mistake it. You can't be like, oh, I wonder if she likes me or if she doesn't. Like I'm putting my hands on you. I'm telling you you look nice. I'm telling you you're handsome. I'm telling you, ooh, I like what you're saying. And then at the end of the night, I'm probably like giving the I'm
Giving kiss
giving
energy.
exactly. I'm giving the hint like, "Hey, I want you to kiss me." Our first kiss, I was like, if you remember, it was in a car because he picked me up at the airport. And I was like, we have to kiss. I have to know. Like, it was like the first thing that happened when I got in the car.
Yeah,
I was like, we have to kiss. We have to kiss right now. So, like,
yeah,
I don't, it's pretty undeniable. I feel like the energy, if you'll know,
yeah.
okay? If I like you, you'll
For
know.
those who didn't watch season one, we went on our first meetup and didn't have our first date until how much later?
About a month and a half,
About a
almost
month.
2 months.
Wow, almost 2 months later because Shani was long distance at the time.
Yeah.
And but I will say when we started talking on the phone, after the first meetup, there wasn't like any, from my perspective, there wasn't any like sparks. I did not think it was going to be any romantic vibe because she was long distance and I was only interested in dating local people at the time. And then a couple of weeks later, Shani informed me that she was moving to Atlanta, and we hopped on the phone shortly after. Make sure y'all go watch that episode because you'll get all the details. There's so much more to it that's really interesting. But we hopped on the phone, and literally when we hopped on the phone, the first conversation felt like
Mhm.
this. It was so amazing. Like I was feeling all the alignment. Like she was saying stuff that I was thinking and vice versa. And it just flowed. And I felt all the lovey-doveys and everything. And I was saying it. I was giving all the energy. I was giving all the energy.
He's giving some of the energy. Some it was cautious though. It was cautious,
I
and I
mean,
will say
always
no.
cautious.
Your
Some
energy
ways.
definitely shifted though. As soon as it was
Definitely.
time, as soon as I told you I was moving here, whole energy shift. Definitely totally different.
Yeah.
Definitely he's cautious when he dates,
Yeah.
and I think that sometimes women find that to be like confusing because a lot of women like to this kind of sweep off your feet kind of energy, and that's not really his energy. He's more cautious. He's more like, let's do this kind of slowly. I want to see you in different contexts, answer these questions. Hey, let's see where we land. That's your energy when you date.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, because we're non-monogamous, polyamorous, I think that also plays into it because, I mean, for me, I know everyone's different, but I've just learned that alignment is so important,
Yeah,
and I feel like there's so many things that we don't see early on in the process that we don't see about each other. And one of the things that I don't like is breakups and breakup energy and all that stuff.
especially when attraction is strong. When the attraction is strong, you can definitely be blinded to things you would.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
So I like to go in cautious because I don't want to be the person that's like falling head over heels for someone and vice versa because the attraction is strong. And then once we start spending really good quality time with each other, we start noticing all these misalignments. And then we like slowly begin to backpedal our way out of the
Yeah,
relation, out of the connection. And
dialing it back is too hard. I'm
yeah,
like this too. So the way I said,
that's
like,
why I'd
if
rather be
my
cautious up front.
my energy, you can tell if I like you, that's for sure, but I'm also cautious. Like, I'm going to take it slow. I'm not going to like say, "Oh my gosh, we have to see each other every day," or like, "Let's jump in. You're my boyfriend and I love you." Like, no, I'm not jumping into those things because it's too hard to dial it back. Like, it's to me it's more prudent to go up the escalator very slowly if you're going to be on the escalator at all, because if you need to take a step back on the escalator, people are like devastated.
Yeah,
Even if you don't break up, they still feel the energy shift, right?
yeah,
They still feel like, oh, you don't care about me the same way you do. And I've said it in the past, my relationships have a tendency to ebb and flow, and I prefer that. And that has a lot to do with not just how I'm feeling about the person, but my capacity. I have children. Sometimes they need me much more than they have in the past, because as kids, they're not on an upward trajectory of just needing you less and less. A lot of times in their adolescence, they need you more, etc. So lots of things come, or work. Maybe now I'm working more than I was working before, and I just don't have the capacity anymore. A lot of times people will take that so personally that I like to be cautious and slow as well.
yeah,
But I also like to lean in, and so do you. Like,
yeah,
you'll still talk about how you're feeling
yeah.
and
I
give
give
all the
both.
affirmations.
I give both, but I think that the way I show up is so different than conventional ways that men or just people in general are expecting others to show up because of the ways we've been conditioned and socialized to date. So like you mentioned, going up the escalator. That's the convention, that's the conventional thing to do. And for the relationship escalator, if you've never heard, is basically you start talking,
Hmm.
right, to someone, then you go out on a date, and then eventually you become partners, boyfriend, girlfriend. Then eventually maybe there's a next level of commitment, which could be moving in with each other. Then it could potentially be getting married.
Right.
Then it could potentially be, buying a house, having kids, all these things. Like that's the conventional. It's like we're always moving up to a deeper next level. Whereas for me, in my polyamorous non-monogamous context, I prefer more relationship anarchy forms of ways of relating. And that means I don't want to be on an escalator. And, I don't want that expectation. So a part of me being cautious is taking the time to explain how I show up differently and giving the other person time to process that. And like I'll say to someone, I'll explain like how I'm showing up and why. I'll talk about the relationship buckets, which again, if you've been following this show, you know what that means. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment as well. I'll explain how I move through these buckets and how I evaluate connections based on these relationship buckets. But I'll also say, it takes time to really truly see where the alignments are, where the misalignments are, and where we'll truly land. And with that, I'll also say, but I think you're sexy. I think you're cute. I think you're smart. I like you a lot. I'm willing,
Also say I love you. I have love for. He'll give you the I love you, which a lot of people
definitely.
take seriously. A lot of people are like, I love you, and that I think to him he has to kind of explain what it means to him a little bit too.
Yeah, I could develop feelings of love for someone, um, you know, and be open to and expressing that as we're spending time together and the vibes are vibing, etc. I can start experiencing feelings of love while also maintaining the fact that it's still going to take time for us to see where we land.
Mhm.
So
It's
yeah.
interesting how, like, for some people, there are markers of escalation that you don't even realize they have. Like, I love you, for example, saying I love you can be a marker of escalation for some people and for others not.
True.
Like, going unbarriered is another example of like a marker and
Just having sex,
escalation.
period.
I would say having sex is like, yes, I would say that's an escalation point, but then think like for most people that is, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Having sex is an escalation point for me also, even though I'm not a big escalator person, but once we have sex, it makes our relationship more intimate for sure. But I would say like having sex without a barrier means more to some people than it does to others. For example,
Hmm.
um there's like little markers that I think people get into, like having an overnight, spending the night together.
Right, right.
It can be a marker of escalation. And then if you're not having overnights regularly, like people feel like your intimacy is like waning. So there's little markers I think here and there that a lot of people don't necessarily acknowledge or speak. And it's important, I think, to like speak those expectations when it comes to dating. I think this is another reason why some people struggle with dating and I don't struggle as much, is because I'll just tell you like how I'm feeling um in these cases. Like I'll say, "Hey, to me that's not really an escalation." Or I might say, "I know we just had two overnights, but I think I'm going to take a break because here's how I'm feeling."
Hmm.
And usually either people enjoy that about me and appreciate that about me, or don't. And I'm okay with either one.
Yeah, yeah. I will say I did date a lot when I first started dating in this context. But more recently, I don't date as much. And, um, even then I didn't like it, even when I was dating a lot, because I was, hoping to find someone that could potentially be a nesting partner. I still didn't like it, but I did it because I was seeking something specific at the time. But let's transition and talk a little bit about like dating apps because I remember when I went through my divorce, and this was early 20 I'm sorry, late 2017, early 2018 that I started dating again for the first time. My ex-wife and I got together back in 2002. We started dating and we got married in 2006. And, back then there weren't dating apps the way there is now. And so that was like interesting for me to, start dating through dating apps. And one thing that I think you all will find very, very interesting is that I have never had a date from a dating app. Never, never a meetup from a dating app. And I've actually been on them. I've actually paid at times to, be able to see who is connecting and liking and different things like that. Never a meetup, never, never a date.
I don't know why. I've questioned this. I'm not sure why. I feel like you're not really a dating app kind of person anyway. Um, I can't. I have to think more about that. I've met people on dating apps. I've gone out with people on from dating apps, quite a few. Um, I
I have a
don't.
lot of success with dating apps.
I don't know about
To me,
success. Success is relative. I hear you, but I've been out with people for sure on dating apps. I've made connections with people.
yeah, that you've seen over and over and over, that you've had some little runs with.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I
Yeah.
don't like dating apps. I find them to be just like another form of social media almost, where it's just like you just kind of scrolling and through them. I don't like the there's like if you message with somebody on a dating app, if you are on dating apps, you know, it can be so inconsistent. It's like frustrating. And I don't know why people are like that specifically on dating apps. Cause like, aren't you here to date? But then they don't answer their messages or they say, oh, I'm never on this app or
Mhm.
whatever. So I don't really deal with dating apps as much anymore. Like I turned all of mine off. Recently turned it back on, but just to see women, which is much less overwhelming than seeing men in in your dating apps. But
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Hope you're enjoying this episode. Let's take a quick break to tell you about something that we've been working on.
We're excited to announce our course and coaching program, Relationship Bliss, where we help polyamorous people transform their relationships into highly compatible, peaceful, deeply aligned, and blissful partnerships.
We do this by sharing techniques for effective communication, deeper connection, and conflict resolution. The program offers a self paced course with 5 learning modules, 25 training videos, and live virtual coaching sessions with us, Shani and Sundiata.
Learn more at go-growdialogue.com.
Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
I didn't start dating until 2020, end of 2020. And I also was completely new to dating apps. I was married, me and my ex got together in 2008, and I don't think dating apps were super, actually 2007. And I don't think dating apps were like as, you know, ubiquitous as they are now. So when I got out into in the dating world in 2020, that was the primary way of meeting people. And I met the first guy who I dated on, I was in China at the time, but I met the first guy who I dated. I met him on Tinder. I met several guys on Tinder and Bumble in China on dating apps. And then I came back to America and met a ton of people on dating apps. I
See,
met the
see.
first, yeah, I met the first guy who I dated in Houston. I met that guy on a dating app.
Hmm.
I met a lot of people on dating apps.
Yeah,
You say
the other guy you're
success.
currently dating now, you met on a dating app.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say I met him on Facebook more than I met him on a dating app. The dating app is what was the catalyst for him to DM me on Facebook, but we didn't connect on the dating app.
Okay.
But so like he saw me on the dating app and he was like, "Hey, I've seen you in the groups," and then messaged me on Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Still
was
counts.
like,
Still counts.
so yeah, dating apps are
Yeah.
cool. I think for women though, dating apps are just way easier. In
Yeah,
fact,
because
it's
it's
just
more men on there looking too.
it's more men on there looking. And what I always say is men lead with looks too much. Like men lead with looks so much that that's the reason why women are constantly inundated more so than, you know, men necessarily being more aggressive. They are also, but it's also because they just lead with looks. Like they don't even look at anything about your personality.
Yeah.
They're just in there because they're like, oh, you cute, you know.
Yeah. I got a bunch of things going against me when it comes to like dating apps. And so for one, the whole thing that I don't really like dating, that's one. And then two, um, I've learned that I have like a really narrow like attraction window. I would say relatively, I'll just say relatively narrow, like attraction window. And also also energy makes a big difference for me as well. So it's not just about how someone looks. Like if someone is, let's say, someone I find highly attractive, they also have to be like value aligned and principally aligned as well. So because I have a narrow attraction range, and then because I tend to be unconventional in a lot of my views and values and beliefs and the way I move through the world, that it leaves me with such a small.
Trying to say he picky. He trying to say he choosy.
I mean, I feel like everybody is, everybody got their things, right, that they're picky or choosy about. But I think when you put all those things into, you filter for all those variables, that it leaves me with a small, uh, what do they call it? A small
Selection,
selection.
a small dating pool.
Yeah, pool. That's the word people use. A small dating pool. Yeah.
I actually don't think the dating pool is as bad as people make it seem. I haven't had terrible experiences dating, and if I did, then it was the first and last time. You know, we didn't see each other again, and I don't think it's that bad. I think you got to vet. You got to be very, very discerning, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as some people make it out to be.
Another thing is like there. there's people that I may not think they're attracted by their pictures, but if I see them in person and I get feel their personality, they can be more attractive to me.
True.
And I can like see the way they move, their mannerisms, their body language, their like their energy, like those things add to attraction, you know. So it's like all that gotta it has to be enough on that dating
That's
profile
why it's
to
getting,
get me to
yeah.
actually go to a meetup to meet. And it's like I just struggle like with deciding on
So
who
where
to
would
do
you
that
met
with.
women?
I primarily meet women in the Facebook groups. This the dating Facebook groups that I'm in. And the polyamory groups because I don't shoot my shot in the wild because I'm polyamorous and most women in the wild aren't. So I don't even waste my time, talking to women in the wild. I will say I have every once in a blue moon. Every once in a blue moon, I actually have maybe twice in the last 7 years. But because someone seemed so dope and they were so like attractive to me and their energy and their personality was so dope, I had to. But outside of those two people, I don't. And outside of that, yeah, it's just being present, being in the groups. And a lot of times, just being present and being in the group, certain women will approach me. Um, and yeah, that's how
I will say
I've
that's,
dated a lot.
yeah, I will say, uh, would you say almost every like thing that has sustained longer than a few weeks, she has approached you?
The majority of, yes. Yeah, yeah, probably all of them.
I would say that's a pattern for you.
Yeah. And part of that's a part of me being cautious too. Because again, because of the ways that I'm unconventional, um, I think that I'm a certain taste and I like for women to kind of get to see me and read through my comments, the things I post on social media to see like, are you down with this like anti-oppression, liberation mindset, this like very methodical thinking approach to things that I tend to take. That could be a turnoff to a lot of people. So,
I also think just like, you're not like a conventional dater either. Like a lot of men that I've dated where I've not felt aligned, they've wanted to take me to certain places. Like one time I went on this date with this guy in Houston and he insisted on taking me to a fancy restaurant, even though I was like, let's just go to a Thai spot because Thai is the food I like. He was like, no, we have to, I'm not just going to take you to like a Thai restaurant. I'm going to take you to this fancy place. There was very little on the menu that I wanted to eat, which was unfortunate. And that's not an alignment for me. Like I'm not a big, oh, we have to go to like this very conventional type of place. And neither are you. You're not like that either.
mhm,
Like a lot of women are turned off by the fact that you only want to do a coffee date
for the
or
first, yeah, for the first
like
meetup.
I see that all over the internet when they're like, "Oh, if he want to take you for coffee on the first meetup, like he not for you, sis," like that kind of thing. And I'm just like, I love coffee. Let's go for coffee because how do I know I even like you? I don't want to be stuck here in a dinner. Gotta wait for the waitress to come and give us the check before we can leave. Like maybe I don't want to hang out with you that long.
Yeah, yeah. For me, the intellectual connection has to be like high in order for me to like have a connection that is going to sustain.
That's absolutely like that is the thing that usually makes a romantic connection fade for me is
Mhm.
misalignment in the intellectual
Yeah,
bucket. So I'm
yeah.
with you.
So therefore, like for me, I wanna go for walks. I wanna talk. I wanna go to the park. I wanna go for hikes. I wanna
Yep.
go for coffee and
I
for
want to go
tea.
somewhere quiet.
Yeah, I wanna go somewhere quiet,
Yes,
because I like to talk and get in each other's minds and understand each other. So,
me too.
um, yeah,
Active dates for me are more like the things you do with somebody who you've already been dating for a while. So like I'm not trying to go, zip lining or axe throwing or anything like that until we know each other a little bit more because like you said, like I'm trying to get to know you. I want to talk a lot.
yeah. And I'm also not the dude that's gonna try to woo you. I'm not gonna be trying to spend a lot of money just to like impress you. I'm not trying to take you to fancy restaurants or like fancy locations and anything like that is like sweep you off your feet energy because like for me that would feel like a waste if I don't like you if it's not going to sustain
Yeah.
and if we don't like each other at a baseline level intellectually and like obviously the physical is going to be there if we even get to that point but like at the intellectual level like that's so important for me. There has to be that value alignment, that intellectual alignment and those things for me to get to the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna give you some woo energy.
Yeah, and
You
he
know,
will give you some boo
I give
energy,
woo energy,
okay? Because
but it
he'll be
takes
like,
time.
"Oh, we have to go to this resort together so we can enjoy because it's so beautiful." Like, so he will give you that energy, but he gotta know.
Takes time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that too. Like, I don't really want to do anything very involved. I don't really want you to spend a lot of money on me until I know you. I don't want you to waste your time or your money on me until we know we vibing.
Right, right. And then I'm also not conventional in the ways that it's like I expect to um
Pay for
yeah, pay
everything.
for everything.
Hmm.
Once we get to that point, like I like where there's women who are like, yeah, I got this time. I like that. Like I don't want to have to pay for everything all the time. So if there's a woman that wants that type of energy, I'm not gonna be that dude. I like being in a relationship with women who I feel like compliment me, where we got each other's back. We're like truly like partners. That word, that's why I don't use it. I don't use it at all, really. And very, very, we got to truly be partnering on things. But in general, even when we're like dating and we're starting to like each other and we're spending some time, it has to feel like we got each other. It has to feel like collaborative. It can't. I'm not going to give you that conventional gender roles and expectation energy because I don't believe in those gender roles. Like we got to talk through all that type of stuff.
I always, no, I'm not gonna get in there. We're gonna stick to the topic, which is dates. I'm trying to think of what it was like when we first started dating. You know, it's so strange because I always feel like you and I didn't really date. We were phone conversations, FaceTime, because of course we were long
Yeah.
distance for like the first, what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, but some people consider that dates, phone
Yeah.
dates, FaceTime dates, you know.
I definitely feel like it was date energy without having to go outside, which I liked,
Mhm.
I liked that it was always quiet. It was always getting into your brain and getting into your mind.
Yeah.
But when I moved here, it was like date energy right away. He was like, "We going on a trip. Let's go
But before
here."
before you even moved here, when I came to visit you a bunch of times, like that was
Yeah.
date energy
No,
too.
true. That's
That was
true.
date energy too.
We did go when I came here and when you came to Houston, we absolutely did go on dates. You're right.
Yeah, so
And
like
it was fun. But it was a
so
rum punch. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
So I think you came to that party when I first meet up, then you went home around this time, and
Came
we
back in March.
came back in
That was
March.
our first date when we went, right? That's what you call our first date when we went to pool. And
Yes.
that you would call that our first date.
Yes, that was our first date.
And then,
I flew out there
yep. And we went a few places in Houston.
and then I flew out there like 2 weeks later or something crazy.
Wait, no, I came back. I came back in April
Okay.
and we went a bunch of places then.
Hmm.
And then you flew back to, then you came to Houston twice in a row. Yeah. And we did do some date type stuff.
So yeah, I
We
had to
did.
I had to like catch flights, but she was catching flights too. So we had to catch flights, but we were doing it, and it got to the point where I didn't want too much time to go by without seeing her. So I was like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Even though I was going to be moving here in like 3 weeks, he was like, "Wait, no, we can't wait 5 weeks." And I was like, "Yay."
Yeah.
It was the energy was definitely there. I'm not sure that like dating is necessary for me. Personally, I don't really mind. And by dating, I'm talking about going outside, like to a restaurant or anything that, or a movie. I'm not a big movie fan because I'm not allowed to talk in the movies. And
Right. You gotta
I
sit
want to
there quiet
talk.
for 2 hours.
But I don't mind doing things like museums and things like that.
Hmm.
But I also just like coming to your house or you come into my house and we're just chilling and we're just talking and spending time with each other.
Yeah.
And like we're having some food together, probably that I cooked. And then, we're having some drinks together. Maybe we smoking a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the energy that I really enjoy,
Yeah.
truly.
We have this thing called Friday Night Vibes,
That's our
and
date.
and sometimes it spills over to a Monday or a Tuesday as well. But basically, we'll literally sit down on the couch, we'll make drinks after dinner, and we'll sit, put on some music,
Yep.
and just vibe and
Yep.
talk
And
and maybe
dance.
dance and just catch up and just vibe, cuddle, touch, like and it just feels good. It's fun and it's not much. It's just the music. We dance into the music. We vibe into the music. We switching up playlists.
Yep. And we're talking about things, probably things we saw on social media or
Yeah,
things that we saw somewhere or thoughts we've been having or I've been thinking about this. And it
yeah,
feels really like bonding and intimate. And it's just us. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I do enjoy though getting dressed up, and going out. outside with him because I do feel like people be looking at us like, "Ooh, they cute," and so that's kind of fun, you know. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people be like, "Oh, y'all so pretty together," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you." So I like
Yeah.
that too, but I prefer the private, intimate energy more.
Well, let's share some of our favorite dates, like when we've gone out. Like, what's been some of your favorite dates going outside?
Let me think. Let me think. Ooh, you put me on the spot. What's some favorite dates that we've had? Well, I definitely the first time we ever went to Rum Punch brunch. If y'all live in the Atlanta area, you might know what I'm talking about. But the first time we ever went, that was really fun. And I don't know if that was a date because it was more like a group outing, but it was very fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the first time that she saw that I can dance. You know, I had to show her, I can actually move a little bit.
it's true. That's a big reason why.
I got hips. I got hips.
I was like, oh snap, you could dance to some reggae.
Yeah, yeah. That's my
Oh,
favorite type of music to dance to. Any
not Caribbean.
Afro Caribbean music. That's I can catch a little bop. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, hold on, he like dance? Oh, this is the music he wants to dance to. So I was very excited about that.
Yes, indeed,
That was
indeed.
really fun.
I'll say a recent one that comes to mind is when we went to Callaway Gardens
Yeah, that was
and
fun.
we hit the trails, we walked the trails, we stopped at a few of the exhibits
Mhm.
and we just took our time. We're outside, the weather was beautiful.
Yep.
It was just a really good day.
And we watched lots of nature. We
Lots
watched
of,
some ants.
that's something that we really enjoy doing. That's so like might be weird to a lot of people, but we really geek out on nature and what the darn animals and insects are
We'd be
doing.
so captivated.
Captivated.
Like we'll be like, oh, look at that, and then we start doing research, and we're like finding things out, and we're like, oh,
Yep.
remember the time we went on a walk and we saw the? I'm getting off topic, but yes, we basically live in a nature observatory too at this point. So
Yeah, yeah,
we that's one of our little nuanced alignments. We
yeah.
definitely get into like the little like nature shows, the real life nature
Real life
shows.
nature shows. But yeah, right outside our windows, we're in the middle of nature, so it's really cool. We get to see a lot. So that was one of my more favorite recent dates. You got another one?
I'm thinking more like more places we've gone, but that's not dates, that's trips. Would you count that?
Yeah, I still count it.
I feel
Yep.
like the first time we went to Mexico was very fun. I
Mhm.
always remember that. That was really
Yeah,
fun. I
yeah.
had a good time with that. And the first time we went to Miami too, I think when we stayed in that little boutique place, that was really fun
Yes,
too.
that place is dope.
Right? That was
Yeah, yeah.
good. And
And one of the funnest things about those trips for me is like when we walk.
we
Like
do a lot of
we do a lot
walking.
of walking when we travel and just sightseeing and like just getting like lost and we don't really get lost, but like just we're not going anywhere for any particular reason. We just want to walk.
We just browse in the world.
Yeah, just browsing the world and we're in nature, we're getting exercise and we're talking and that's just like one of the funnest things that we enjoy doing is talking to each other.
It's
So
true.
that
And
that
walking. Like
yeah,
that's such a fun act. We just be
yeah,
strolling.
yeah,
It's true. We're not like, oh, let's get in a car and go here.
yeah,
We're like, let's just walk around and see what's out there.
yeah,
It's really fun.
yeah.
I love our date energy. It's always
I'm gonna go somewhere now.
all right,
So
all right.
yeah,
Ready to go somewhere that's not a group trip,
yeah, yeah.
like
Ready to go
not a group
somewhere.
event.
Yeah.
All right,
So
I'm with it.
go for a walk.
Blueversary is coming up, so maybe we should go somewhere.
Facts.
So that's coming up. That's fun. The
Yeah.
beginning of our dating life is coming up.
Yep. Yep. It'll be
Um,
3 years, y'all.
yeah,
3 years.
3 years. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, 3 years of just love
three
and
years
bliss.
of dopeness and alignment, like really, really
Yeah.
high alignment in like all the so many ways, so many nuanced little ways. Like it's so dope. I'm so grateful. So grateful for this connection
Yeah.
for sure, y'all.
No, it's
It's
not that we
amazing.
never have conflict, just to be clear, but I feel like we always move through it so like gracefully and proactively, and I always feel like settled after, and so anyway, we gushing a little
Yeah.
bit, and that's not
That's
even our
that's
segment
not the segment.
today.
Right.
Let's
Let's
focus.
let's get into the segment.
Let's get into the segment.
All right,
Okay,
all right.
focus.
So today's segment is like story time. That's the segment, and that's one of our reoccurring segments. And this one is about using the buckets in dating. So how do we use the buckets in dating? And the buckets are
First, you got intellectual. That's my favorite one. I always say. You got familial, platonic, attraction, and sexual.
yes, yes. So you know when that's one of the things that we're evaluating, early on in the getting to know you process, the talking process, the meet up, and then the date process. And it's one of those things that for me, attraction is huge, very early on. Like the attraction piece has to be there. For me, if romance has any chance of emerging, and the sexual, connection has any chance of emerging, that attraction piece has to be there. And not just attraction in terms of looks, but also attraction in some of those little nuanced ways as well. Like,
Mhm.
do I like the way you smell?
Mhm.
What I mean? Do I like the way you walk? Do
Do
I
I
like
like
the
the way
way
you
you
talk?
talk? Do I
Yeah.
like the way, what's your swag like? Like, just kind of your
Your
energy,
style.
your style, the way you dress,
Yeah.
like,
All of that.
all these things, um,
Who's
th-
the first person you can remember dating and using the buckets to like really assess? I mean, you don't have to say their name, obviously, but like, do you remember who the first person was who you were like, all right, I'm going through the buckets. I'm feeling this, this, this while you were dating and you found it helpful?
mm,
I can remember. It was
I think I can.
I can remember too. And
Yeah, I
I
think I
remember
can.
one time we were on a road trip and we were talking about the buckets of like
Yeah,
everybody in our lives.
yeah. Past and present, we kind of went through it one time.
Yeah, and like I felt like that was very useful for me at the time because
Yeah.
the person I was dating, we were having it was nice. We were seeing each other a lot, but there was just something that was kind of like missing.
Hmm.
And I was like, what is it? Like, what's the thing that's not quite there? And so we went through the buckets and I was like, okay, it's this bucket. This is
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the misalignment is. This is where I'm not feeling super aligned. So
yeah.
I find it really useful for reflection.
Definitely. And, you know, there's an episode in season one where we go through in detail what each bucket means. Um, but, definitely early on for me, again, it's the attraction one and it's also the platonic one.
Hmm.
Those are like the two, I'm sorry, and intellectual, of course. So attraction, intellectual, and platonic are the first, three things that I'm kind of feeling through
Yeah.
initially. Because we're again non-monogamous, polyamorous, everything don't gotta line up. And we talk about it either being low, medium, or high attraction in any given bucket, or like alignment, I'm sorry, low, medium, or high alignment in each bucket. And the familial bucket,
Takes time.
that takes time,
Yeah.
and
You
it does
don't need it.
it doesn't have to be high in
Yeah.
order for a romantic connection to connect, because we don't got to spend family time together.
Yeah.
We can just be, I'm nested already, and we don't got to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I was looking to nest, that was important to me.
Yeah.
When I was looking to nest, that was indeed like, do you like kids?
Yeah.
That was important.
What's your parenting
Yeah,
style?
what's your parenting style? Because I believe in conscious parenting, so that was very important.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say for
yeah,
me, it's attraction and intellectual. Those are the first things that I'm like, what's going? Like, let's see how it goes. And I find that if the intellectual alignment is really good, this person is much more attractive to me. Like,
definitely,
much more. If the
definitely.
intellectual like alignment is there, even if I didn't think they were that cute when I first saw them, now they extra cute. Now I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, look
yeah,
at how cute you are.
yeah.
So I would say the intellectual and the attraction are like key for me because if the intellectual is on point for me, it's probably going to lead to a really good platonic connection. Those two things usually go hand in hand for me. Now, the other way around, though, can happen where I feel a platonic connection, but not so much with the intellectual,
Hmm.
in which case that's where we'll land. We'll
Yep.
stay in the platonic space because maybe we have like a lot of fun together and we got jokes and we're able to
Yeah.
emotionally support each other in certain ways,
Hmm.
but we're not understanding each other during conflict or like we're not speaking the same language or like we're being misunderstood by each other
Or different
too frequently
values.
or we have different
Like
values.
different socio-political,
Yep.
economical values and
Yes.
things like that might not be aligned.
Different views on hierarchy,
Right,
different views and expectations on what relationships are. And that to me definitely falls into the intellectual bucket.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And even with those things being misaligned, like she said, there still can be a dope platonic connection because we enjoy having fun together
Yeah.
and we make each other laugh,
Yeah.
things like that. So there's still room, for relationships to still thrive. And that's another reason as well why I know I'm kind of going back, that I like kind of taking my time, because I don't want to do romance or bust.
Yeah.
So I'm very upfront with folks like, look, we're going to spend time and get to know each other. And really, it's like we're experimenting across all these buckets to see where we land. And I don't want to be romance or bust. I say that early on when I'm getting to know someone, because I'm like, if we find out that a romantic sexual connection ain't a thing for us, or if we find out that we don't align on values, etc., so therefore our intellectual alignment isn't there, but we enjoy laughing, having drinks, dancing, and all those things,
Let's
well,
do it.
let's keep doing that. We
Yes.
still can be connected. We still can have love for each other, and just spend time where we align. Spend time where we align. That's my new tagline. That's like basically the tagline for like all of our work. But so yeah.
Say you have like a platonic friendship, and one in particular that I can think of where I do think y'all date. You know, y'all go out to meet up for coffee.
Hmm.
Y'all have gone to have dinner
Dinner.
together. You know, you'll take her out for her birthday. She'll
Yeah.
take you out for your birthday. Like,
Or we'll
y'all,
sit on the couch and just cuddle sometimes, or at the crib and just drink tea and talk or watch
yeah.
something. Yeah.
So you definitely have like places where you you spend time where you align.
Indeed. Indeed. So yeah, I think
And that's
it's.
what dating really is, isn't it? It's like
Hmm.
finding the places where you align. That's what I mean when I say it's collecting data.
Hmm.
It's just like, where are we aligned? Where are we not? And now we can make decisions about how we want to spend our time together and what kind of agreements we might want to put into place, if any. Because a lot of times you don't need any, you know,
Yeah.
you just want to see how you're going to spend time with each other.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is that I feel like using the buckets in dating gives me language. It allows me to communicate very clearly with people about the reasons why maybe I'm not feeling XYZ, or what I am feeling and what I'm not feeling. It gives me language for doing that. So
And in a nice
reflecting.
kind of neutral way, because
Right.
I feel like a lot of
Right.
times when you tell people
Very
what you
neutral.
don't like about them, it doesn't feel good.
Hmm.
But when you kind of speak about it so neutrally, I think it's better. You know, instead of saying, I don't understand you during conflict, it's like we don't really speak the same language during conflict. I feel like that's a little bit more neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's better than doing what a lot of people do, which is just kind of, again, ghosting or slowly backing away. Um, you know,
Or making
or
excuses.
making excuses. Yeah. Or lying. It just. That's why, again, I take the approach I take. But so yeah, using the buckets during dating, very important to me and obviously you
Yeah.
for those reasons. So yeah.
Love it for reflection.
Yeah. I'm clear. You got anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's good.
I think so too. So but
I hope
yeah.
y'all enjoyed this
Hope
one.
yeah, hope y'all got something from that.
Do you like to date? Like, are you one of the people who thinks that dating, you know, there's pee in the dating pool? Or are you out here like, hey, I'm having the time of my life? You know, I was also married for so long and I felt so like repressed that I feel like I'm out here dating, like, oh my gosh, people want me. I didn't know they would. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know in the comments, how do you approach dating? If anything resonates with what we said, or if you do things completely different from what we said and you're having success or not, you like dating, don't like dating, let us know in the comments. And yeah, we'll chat with y'all next time.
Yeah, see y'all next time.
Love y'all. That's a wrap for this episode of SunShan Rainbows. We hope today's conversation sparked some new insights, deep reflections, or just gave you a fresh perspective on love and connection.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a comment, send us your questions, or share your own experiences. We might even feature them in a future episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to SunShan and Rainbows on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you're vibing with us, please like, comment, share, and leave a review. It helps others find the show and keeps these conversations going.
Want more SunShan and Rainbows? Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at SunShan Rainbows for daily insights, behind the scenes moments, and updates on future episodes.
Until next time, we love y'all. Peace.